I'm Bob Deluca. I'm 52 years old. I work in the telecommunications industry and I'm an Italian American. Outgoing, fun-loving, family-oriented, and intense. As for my friends, they would describe me as a fun-loving, outgoing kind of guy that would give the shirt off my back for them if they needed it. My best quality is my patience and my perseverance. My worst quality is that I am so intense to the point that I am a perfectionist. I'd have to say my wife pushes my buttons because she's always trying to rush me through my creative processes. My reaction to criticism is constructive criticism. I take it openly. If you're going to criticize me about something I do, then I would really want you to tell it to my face, and don't talk behind my back, about it. So constructive criticism is a good thing. I accept that openly, like I said. My background: I was born into an Italian-American family, lived in Lyndhurst, which is in Bergen County in North Jersey. Since I was 5 years old, I was always in the kitchen with my mom and my grandmother, cooking and baking, and that's how I, at that young age, wanted to get into this industry. But unfortunately, I had an underactive thyroid, and the doctor said if I got into that kind of field, that I'd be an obese adult. Now, going forward in my life, I was diagnosed with cancer. I'm a two-time cancer survivor, and when I was going through chemo for 9 weeks, I was out of work for 4 months, and I was able to pursue this baking and cooking part of it because it was like therapy for me. I sat there, read some books, watched some more TV shows, and that's how I learned how to do all this stuff. The kind of people I like are honest, hardworking, fair people. People that rub me the wrong way are lazy, cheating, lying bastards. Alright, if I was an ingredient, I would have to say I'd be flour, because that's the beginning in the journey of baking. And you need flour to start baking, and you need me for the show. I'm going to be a hard-nosed, in-it-to-win-it competitor. I have to say I relate to Dana. Dana was very creative, which I am, and he won. My culinary experiences are, I'm self-taught. I did take a class at the adult school. It was a 6-week pastry class, which was, well, it's not actually 6 weeks, it was 6 classes, which was cool, working in a commercial kitchen, which I've never had before, so that was pretty cool to see how it actually works in the professional world. My cake decorating experience comes from while I'm working on my creations for cakes that I make for friends and family. So that's pretty much where I get all my experience from, and I try different techniques. I'll read, watch shows, and pick up new stuff from there. So that's pretty much my experience. The genre of cake baking that I like to do is theme cakes, because that shows off my creativity. There's really nothing about baking that I hate. I like everything to do with baking. Creativity is my passion. I once created a dove the size of a dime for one of my creations, and my imagination is endless. Well, as it goes for awards, I've won multiple times for my team being #1 in New Jersey South, having the best team numbers, and golf. I love to golf because it's I compete against myself. I'd say my favorite topic of conversation would be sports and gossip. Can't stand it. If you got something to say it to my face. I don't want to hear you talking about other people behind their backs. Can't stand gossip. Most of my recipes come from family, being from an Italian family. I do get some out of the internet and cookbooks, and I put my own personal twist on it. That's my secret. I'd have to say my skill level for baking, decorating, and pastry is above average across the board. I don't believe you have to go to culinary school to be a great baker or decorator. Take me, for example. I'm good at it and I'm self-taught. A couple of elaborate cakes that are my favorites is one is an album cover from a Kiss album that I made for my nephew's 30th birthday, where I carved the faces off from the album out of fondant, which took me about 3 hours to do, but it was well worth it. The Coach pocketbook I did for a friend's wife as her birthday present, and it looked just like a pocketbook. I could absolutely put together a 5-tier wedding cake in an hour if challenged, as long as I had all the components that were necessary to do this. The largest cake I've ever made is a 4-tier cake that I made for the Relay for Life, which was just recently, and I've made a luminary bag out of fondant. I've made the bracelets out of fondant. I did the ribbons. It was just an amazing thing, especially being on the committee for the American Cancer Society. We put this all together. I made this for the Survivor Luncheon, and it was a big hit, and everybody loved it, and it just made me feel warm inside. It was just an amazing, amazing accomplishment for me. My construction abilities come from my dad. He was a builder. I worked with him when I was younger, so I learned that the foundation has to be strong to hold up your creation. And I bring that when I'm decorating my cakes. I always make my foundation strong, work my way up, so it gets to where it has to go when it's completed. In my opinion, what makes a great baker / decorator is someone that pays attention to the tiniest of detail. So a bad baker would be someone that doesn't pay attention to detail. Well, let me put it this way. The quick fire challenges, I'll be ready for anything you throw at me. And as much as it comes to working in a group, I do that every day at my job. So I work well in a group and I'm ready. So let's do it. My role in a group would be a leader, a delegator, and a diplomat. So you're asking me if I'm competitive in nature? Abso-friggin-lutely. I compete against myself every time I play golf, and I beat cancer. I'm going to play the game hard-nosed, and I'm in it to win it. My secret weapon is right here. It's my ego. I'm willing to be confrontational with my peers if they do not cooperate. I'll get uptight, I get spun around, I cool down, I get focused, and I get in gear. I'd have to say the most stressful time in my life was when I was diagnosed with testicular cancer in 2009. Even though I had a great support from my family and my friends, I turned to baking and decorating as a crutch to give me my inner strength. Baking and decorating is very important to me. Brings my creativity out from my inner soul. And baking did get me through a stressful time when I was battling cancer. It was, like I said, a crutch, and at one point I actually baked a cake while I was going through chemo, brought it into the doctor's office, and while we were all there in the chemo suite, they actually started serving it to the patients. And as I saw people, again, when I was back there, they started calling and said, "Hey, there's the cake boss." I said, "No, there's only one cake boss, and that's Buddy V." From a conversation I had with my daughter Nicole while I was baking, I told her, "One day you're going to see Dad on TV." TLC, you should pick Bobby D because I have a lot of tender, loving creations that will knock and rock your socks off. P.S. Bobby D on the chef coat. Cut the sleeves off because I love showing off the guns.